What's going on, everybody? I decided to start working on my car. I'm getting ready to do the fuel system, upgrading to E85 volt flex fuel. Obviously I got a bunch of Barton Racing parts. I got their flex fuel sensor, I got their harness kit, and I also ordered a quantum fuel pump. I don't know if I'm going to need this just yet, but I have it in case I need it. AEM fuel pressure regulator, AEM fuel rail. I also got a fuel pressure gauge, a fitting to adapt the fuel line from the fuel filter so I don't have to cut it, and then I got the fitting to adapt the return line. I will have to cut that. Everything is 6AN. I got a 10 micron fuel filter. This is the adapters for the fuel filter, the adapters for the flex fuel, and this is a mount for the fuel filter itself. I'm hoping it can go in the OEM spot. I'm not really tucking it, I'm more of just getting it bolted on. I also changed the TPS sensor. I got one from Dorman. Merely the gasket was trash, that's why I got it. I went ahead and swapped it on. If it sucks, I'll put my old TPS sensor back on. I also have a 3-inch intake, cold air intake to install. I have a catch can to install, and I have a AC belt to swap around. So I'm getting ready to work on that right now. So I will take you along with the process. I forget what the hell is in this thing. Let me see. I forget it. Oh, okay. It's my 6AN fuel line. So that's PTFE, and these are all the PTFE fittings to do the fuel system. I don't know why they all came with the O-rings, because I definitely don't use O-rings. Alrighty, let's get this going. Alright, just a quick update. I'm putting all this stuff together, and I realized I was missing a fitting, so I just went ahead and ordered that. It's to adapt the fuel filter to the actual fuel line fitting. That's not going to work, so I had to get a female to female. So that'll be here tomorrow. I got the fittings on the E85 sensor on. I got the fuel pressure gauge on the fuel rail. I decided to do something a little bit differently. I'm going to kind of run it how I have it on the CRX, where it's going to run off the fuel rail for the return, which will allow me to plumb the E85 sensor in. So I'm plugging, I got a plug for that, so I'm plugging the FPR. That way it just runs straight through. I'll still have the vacuum line hooked up, obviously, and then your adjustability. I can't bolt this on yet because of the way the rail is designed. It's kind of directly above the bolt. So I'm going to go ahead and get all this mocked up and bolted into the car now, and do whatever I can, start making the lines, and then go from there. I know installing this fitting for the return is going to be the biggest pain, just because it's so tight down there, this thing here, because it adapts the return line. So I will put everything that I'm installing on this car in the description if anybody's interested in doing this same setup. It's a fairly simple process. It's just getting all the correct fittings. Obviously I still screwed up and missed a fitting, and then making the actual lines with the PTFE, which if you haven't done it before, it's really not that hard. So I hope I have enough fittings to do this job. I'm sure I will. Alright, to the car. Let's get this thing ripped apart. As you can see here, I put the stock feed back on the car because everything I put on leaked. I didn't record the process of doing the cold air intake, but I ended up having to cut several inches off the pipe for it to fit properly, but I was prepared to do that. I already knew it wasn't going to fit when I ordered it. Here I'm showing where I installed the catch can and how I ran the lines. I am currently installing the rear sway bar that I picked up for my EK. It's a white line 22mm. It's the same sway bar that I have on this car. I've already done the install before, so it's fairly simple. I know what to do. I know what not to do. Alright, I got the white line sway bar installed. Don't think it hits the exhaust. I'm going to find out as soon as I set it down, but when I was torquing everything down, I had like a little bit of clearance. Slightly different than Chico's setup because his has the 3 bolts on the top, so I had to do something a little different since this has just the 1 hole, just like OEM. I've gone rounds with this car between yesterday and today. All I wanted to do was mix the fuel lines so I can have E85 when it's ready to go. I had nothing but problems. Don't buy the cheap stuff. I ended up using Evil Energy, and it's still cheap, but it's not as cheap. I've run it on the CRX, never had a problem. I ended up having to change 2 ferrules. After I changed everything, the lines were the same. Between the cheap company and Evil Energy, the lines were the same. But the fittings were totally different. The ferrules were different, the bases were different, the swivels were different, everything was different between Evil Energy and the other brand. I got this all together, and these 2 fittings on the flex fuel still leak. So I ended up changing the ferrules on it, and now they're good. I had some Mishimoto ferrules. I threw them on. No more leaks. I got cold air installed yesterday. That's sitting down right in underneath here. The filter's over here, so I put a bypass filter here. And then I installed the catch can. It's kind of hard to see. Catch can runs to the pipe and runs from the valve cover. That should take all the pressures out of it. I'm running AEM fuel rail now. I have this is a glow shift fuel pressure gauge. I got it set, AEM fuel pressure regulator. And obviously the flex fuel sensor. It's wired in already. It's the Burton Racing kit. I ended up grounding it and running power at the ECU where I grabbed the ground and power for the AEM AFR gauge as well. I just tied it in down there, fused out and everything, so there's no issues. I just took this thing for a quick test drive. It was so nice to drive it again. I haven't been driving it because there's things I still need to fix on it, but I have to drive it this week, so I had to get this going. Obviously, the running a little richer now since I did the fuel system, so that's going to be adjusted with the tune anyway. But for now, it's safe to drive. It's not a big deal. I'm getting ready to do the resealing of the head. I didn't put any RTV anywhere, so I'm going to pull the caps off and seal all that up, and then seal the valve cover up, and this will take care of the oil leak that I've been having. I haven't really been driving the car too much because of that. If there's time, I'll swap out the AC belt as well. I have a shorter belt, so it'll stop squeaking. And if I have time after that, I might throw the rest of the feed line for the fuel system in. I've already got the new fittings and everything plumbed onto it. It's just sitting right here. I just need to put it in the car. is sealed back up. I like to put RTV on my valve cover gasket. It's just extra reassurance that things never going to leak, especially with how much pressure is in this head. Target leaks. I got to clean this up now. Put the shirter back on, put the valve cover vent back on, and then decide if I want to do the fuel system next or the AC belt. Alright, got my flex fuel system fully installed now. Got all the new lines in there, the filters down there. You kind of see it right there. I resealed the head. That seems to be okay. I'm still getting a little bit of fluid here, but I'm spraying it off. I ran the motor for a little bit. What else did I do? That's pretty much it. Well, that's where we're at right now. I'll probably drive this thing to work tonight just to see how it's doing. I turned the fuel pressure down a little bit, but she's good. All right, working on taking the header off, swapping out the PLM and the cat. So far I've got the header off. Getting ready to go take the resonator off and get the cat on and then get the header on. There she is. New header. Put a 2.5-inch cat on it as well, so it all matches up. Start this thing up, see what it sounds like. Okay. Alright, initial break-in. Sorry, I forgot to film an outro. The video you just watched was just a bunch of clips that I put together. I've been working on this car throughout the weeks. So comment, like, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And here's a quick clip of Cougar and I street tuning the car.